Hey guys, the Brad Lloyd, and today I'm talking to you about smart lighting, one of my most favorite things in HomeKit. Smart lighting is one of the most basic elements of home automation, and it's a lot of fun to do. It's usually something that happens over time, but how do you decide between a smart light bulb and a smart switch? There are benefits to both of these options, and I'm going to go through all of that with you today. There's lots to talk about, so stick around. Regardless of smart light bulbs or smart switches, there are so many benefits to smart lighting in general. First of all, you can control your lights with Siri or through the Home app from anywhere in the world. Create and set scenes to control multiple lights at the same time, including turning lights on, off, dimming lights, changing light temperatures, changing light colors, so many options with scenes. And the more smart lighting you have, the more you can do. You can use sensors to turn lights on or off when it detects motion, or contact like a door opening or closing. You can use an automation to turn lights on or off when another HomeKit accessory is triggered. An example I use here is when my garage door opens, the lights in my garage automatically turn on. You can also create automations to turn your lights on when you get home and turn off when you leave home. So you can see in general, there are a lot of benefits to smart lighting, and the examples I gave are really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many different things that you can do. Don't think you need to convert your home all at once. This really is a process and it's gonna take a while. I've been converting my home for a couple of years now, and I'm pretty close to the end of that journey from a smart lighting perspective, but I'm still not done. I have a few closets that I need to convert, and there's a few places where I think it'd be nice to add some accent lighting like LED light strips. Okay, so let's talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of the smart light bulb versus the smart switch. And we'll start with the smart light bulb. This is the first accessory that I ever owned. It was a Philips Hue starter pack that came with 3 light bulbs and a bridge. So yes, Philips Hue does require a bridge. It communicates through the Zigbee protocol and costs around $70. Now you can run about 50 Philips Hue accessories off of this one bridge, so it's a one-time purchase and then you're usually good to go. Now Philips Hue does sell Bluetooth enabled light bulbs as well. However, there's some disadvantages. Because it's Bluetooth, it's a little bit slower. The range isn't going to be as good. You can only have up to 10 light bulbs, and the deal breaker for me, it doesn't work with HomeKit. So for those reasons, that's not something that I can recommend. Now, being reliant on a bridge doesn't put the smart light bulb at a disadvantage because a lot of smart switches also require a bridge, including the ones that I use. And not all smart light bulbs require a bridge. There are many other brands, including Sylvania Smart Plus, Coolgeek, and LifeX, that you don't need a bridge at all. Nanoleaf is another brand, and I'm really excited to try their lights at some point because they work off of thread, so you need a HomePod Mini. But the demand on those is really high right now, and they're really hard to find. It seems like they're sold out everywhere. So why choose a smart bulb? Well, the first reason is you have more choice when it comes to light temperature and color. With a smart switch, you're going to be restricted by the light bulb that you purchase and put into that fixture. You might be able to dim the light, but you're not likely going to be able to change the color or change the light temperature. Philips Hue, for example, sells 3 basic types of A19 light bulbs. First of all, there's white. This is the cheapest. It's about $30 Canadian per bulb. However, it doesn't change color and you're restricted to a light temperature of 2700 Kelvin, which is a very warm yellow light, and personally speaking, it's not my favorite. Next is white ambiance. This one is around $40, so an extra $10. And while it doesn't turn color, you can change the light temperature from around 2200 to 5600 Kelvin. So that's a very soft white to a very bright daylight. This is great for any area where you want to be able to adjust the lighting temperature, but you don't care about color. You can also take advantage of adaptive lighting. This is where you can adjust the temperature automatically throughout the day. Then there's color. This is the most expensive option, of course, and it's around $60 per bulb, but it allows you to not only change the lighting temperature, but you can choose one of 16 million colors. The second reason to choose a smart bulb over a smart switch is the ease of installation. There's no messing with wires or electrical components here. It really doesn't get easier than screwing in a light bulb and then setting it up on the app. Now the actual setup is going to be a little bit different depending on the manufacturer of light that you purchase. With Philips Hue, you'll set it up through the Hue app. It's an easy process that takes about a couple of minutes, and you'll see it in your home app right after. Now let's talk about the smart switch and what are the advantages it has over a smart bulb. Well, the first is cost. So one smart switch is going to cover all of the lights that switch controls. So if you have a room with a lot of lights, then you can really save a lot of money by just replacing the switch. When it comes to smart switch, I use Lutron Caseta. Lutron's a trusted company that's been making lighting products for a long time, long before the age of the smart home. And I find they just work really, really well. Lutron also requires a bridge and it costs around $110. It communicates through their Clear Connect RF technology. You can also bundle this in a starter pack that'll come with a couple light switches and the bridge to bring that cost down a little bit. Now Lutron Caseta switches cost on average around $65 Canadian. Lutron Caseta also sells a Pico remote. This is the Pico remote right here, and you can see I have this on a convenient little stand. It is removable, so this is convenient to put on a desk or a table or anywhere where it's just convenient to have access to your lights. On the Pico remote, you have an on and an off button. You also have some up and down arrows so you can adjust the dimness. And in the middle, there's a little favorite button, which is very convenient. Now you can also buy face plates for these, so you can actually put this light switch anywhere on your wall where you wish you had a switch, but you just don't. For three-way switches, you also need the Pico remotes. You're actually going to rewire one of the lights, and that second light switch is just going to be a Pico remote. So it's going to be a light switch in disguise. Lutron is definitely not the only company that sells HomeKit-enabled light switches. There are many other like Eve, Wemo, and Levitron, just to name a few. And of those that I mentioned, none of those require a bridge. But Lutron Caseta works so well, I have never had an issue with a light being non-responsive, but do know there are many options for you. So thinking about cost, let me use my master ensuite bathroom as an example. Here I'm using a Lutron Caseta switch that costs around $65 to control 6 vanity lights and 2 ceiling lights, so that is 8 lights in total. I am not a fan of the standard white light bulbs that Philips Hue produces, so let's say I choose the white ambiance lights. I'm still looking at around $240 in total to replace all of those lights, and that's saving a little bit of money by doing some bundling. So while I can see some advantages to being able to adjust the lighting temperature in a room such as the bathroom, for me personally, it's not worth the extra cost. The other advantage of a smart switch over a smart bulb is that you are replacing the actual switch itself. It's absolutely more work because you're messing with wiring, and that's not always easy to do. But with a smart bulb, you're relying on that switch staying in the on position. If somebody accidentally turns that light off, then those lights are not going to work, and that is super frustrating. Honestly, it is one of my pet peeves when my lights don't work because somebody turned the light switch off. Now, I can, for the most part, train my family not to turn the light switches off that are controlling smart bulbs, but that's not foolproof. And when we have friends and family come over, it's pretty much a lost cause. It is human nature to see a switch and turn it on or off when you're entering or exiting a room. Now, Lutron actually creates a device called the Aurora that works with the Philips Hue and addresses this problem. I love this product. Now, it costs an extra $50, but I love it because it solves a problem that is super frustrating for me. It's a little device that locks a light switch into an on position, and you can also turn the light on or off and even dim it right from the Aurora itself. I absolutely love this product, and I'm going to do a video on it at some point, so if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel so that once it's released, you can easily find it. I have a combination of smart switches and smart bulbs. One is not better than the other. It just depends on the needs of that particular light or room. And of course, it's a personal preference. Let's take a tour through my home so you can see the lighting choices that I've made. Okay, well, let's start in our front entrance. So this over here is a Lutron Caseta. It's actually a Pico remote, and it's controlling these pot lights that you see up here in the front entrance. Some more Lutron Caseta switches over here. So we've chosen smart switches in this area because they're controlling things like lights in the garage the front entrance lights as well as the hallway lights. And these, as you can see, are all on pot lights, and they were put in here by the builder. Now our kids would love it if we changed these lights out for the Philips Hue recessed lights. So maybe one day, but for right now, these switches work perfectly for us, and there's really no need to go with anything else. All right, well, let's go take a look at the study, and I'll show you the lighting choices that I've made there. Here's our study where I do some of the YouTube videos. You might recognize that. Ceiling light, Lutron Caseta. Accent light, Philips Hue. Love this room. So here I've got a couple more Lutron Caseta switches, and these are controlling some of the pot lights in our kitchen in our great room. This is a Lutron Aurora that I talked about earlier. So this is controlling some Philips Hue lights above the kitchen island. So these are GU10 white ambiance lights by Philips. So that means they won't change color, but I can take advantage of adaptive lighting and change the lighting temperature as I please. The fixture we have over the dining room has built-in LEDs, so our only option there was a Lutron Caseta. The under cabinet lights don't dim, so we have a Lutron Caseta there as well that turns on and off. In the pantry, we have a couple of Philips Hue color lights, along with an Eve window and door sensor. This allows the lights to turn on automatically when we open the door. Just like the lights above the island, the chandelier lights are also Philips Hue white ambiance lights. They're actually a GU10 bulb. The white ambiance allows us to change that lighting temperature and take advantage of adaptive lighting. Here I am in our master bedroom. We have 3 bedrooms in this house, and all 3 of them have Philips Hue color lights. Does it make sense to have Philips Hue color lights in a bedroom? Yeah, totally makes sense. You can see right now I have the lights blue, and you can change these lights to whatever you want. Now I also have a Philips Hue remote. This thing is really, really handy. There's actually a new one that has just, I don't think it's been released yet, but it's coming out. And it's really just a redesign of the same thing. But you can see I just took it off this wall. It's magnetic, and I can change the lights with it just either off or on. You can see we're back to white light now. You can program these to whatever you want. So I just hit it a couple of times and I got sort of a sunset light, and you can change those. The other thing that's great about the Philips Hue remote is that I can control non-Philips Hue products. So when I come into the bedroom, I can have this programmed so that it turns on not only the Hue lights in my bedroom, but also the Lutron Caseta lights in my master bathroom, which is definitely a huge plus. Okay, just a couple last rooms that I want to show you. First of all is the laundry room. This is on a Lutron Caseta switch, and I'm also using an Eve Bluetooth motion sensor. So this automatically turns the light on when I enter the room. Really helpful when I'm walking into a dark room with a full load of laundry. Lastly is our kids' bathroom. This is also on a Lutron Caseta, and like the laundry room, I also have an Eve motion sensor. The great thing with the Eve motion sensors, you can program this to come on at different brightnesses depending on the day. So during the day, it's gonna come on at 100%, but at 2 a.m., for example, it's gonna come on at just 10%. So for those middle of the night trips to the washroom, it doesn't blind you. Well, that's basically it. I also have Lutron Caseta lights in our basement, and I have a motion sensor in our stairwell, so the lights automatically turn on when I go downstairs. One thing I do want to mention is that you can combine smart switches with smart bulbs. This may sound obvious, but it's actually something that I tried early on, and trust me, it does not work. Now, I was trying to solve the problem of people turning light switches off where I had smart bulbs installed. Now we have the Lutron Aurora that solves that problem, so it's not something you need to worry about. The Aurora, even at $50, is still cheaper than a Lutron Caseta anyway, so just know that those two things don't go together in case it's something you were thinking about. I hope you liked this video, and if you found it helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel so you can see more of my videos where I talk about Apple products with a focus on HomeKit. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.